Okay, looks like we are back. Zmaster is up next with Four Sword Adventures. In case you didn't read chat, we do have some donation incentives coming up for the next run after this, which is going to be Secret of Mana. There are 2 names that you can vote for. There's the name of the boy, and the name of the sprite. Both are 6 uppercase letters only. There's also a hand cam donation incentive. We're at $30 out of $100 for that. You definitely want to see that hand cam because it's not just one controller, it's 2 controllers. So 1 player playing 2 controllers, you definitely want to see that. So make sure to put your donations towards that during this run so we can have that all set up for you. And Zmaster, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and get started.
Okay, sounds good. Let me make sure I have all the pieces here. Okay. Let me get this started here. So the intro's pretty long and I'll just explain stuff there. Alright. Can't read Japanese. Okay. Alright. Whoa. Alright. So this is a lot different than usual Zelda games. Well, I mean, the story, not really, but in terms of mechanics and stuff, it's very different. So it's a more level-based Zelda, and within each level, everything gets kind of reset. So, for example, in the first level, I'll pick up a boomerang and a fire rod, but once I go to the next level, that'll all get reset, and I'll start with no items, and then I just use the items within each of the levels. So you're kind of limited to what each level gives you when it comes to skips and stuff. Now, that sounds pretty bad, but there's actually a lot of glitches in this game, and most levels do have very large sequence breaks in them. It still is a pretty long game, but the game just by itself is pretty long, so usually a blind playthrough, single player, takes like 8 to 10 hours or something. And since the levels are pretty compact and short, if you have like a sequence break, that at most only saves like a minute or 2. You can't really do a large sequence break since each level is pretty short to begin with. And so here you can see I'm playing on the Japanese version. The Japanese version, it is faster because of text, so you see this text scrolling here, but this is the only time this ever happens, is in the beginning. Past this, the Japanese text doesn't matter anymore. It actually might even be slower, because there's some items that have more text boxes in Japanese for whatever reason. But it doesn't factor into the run that much. And even past text, it doesn't really matter much either. Because really the only differences that matter time-wise are in the last world of the game, where there's some actual gameplay differences. Overall, all the glitches work on both versions except for a very select few. Also, hey Stanner, if you're here, what's your favorite maiden out of these guys? Or anyone else? The red and white one are pretty top tier. The red one can't really talk very well, like me. But maybe I can relate to her, so, you know. While I'm commentating certain levels, this will probably be a disaster, because I'm really bad at talking about this game and playing at the same time. But I'm gonna try. And there might be some sections where I just can't really commentate because there's like 3 tricks in a row. I'll try my best to explain them, but we'll see. I guess I'll explain kind of the overall goal of each level too, once I get the sword. So in each level, you'll see me picking up gems. And so I need 2,000 gems to complete each level, because at the end of each level, there's like this barrier thing that you have to break in order to continue. And if you get 2,000 gems, your sword gets powered up and turns orange, and you can shoot beams and do the hurricane spin and stuff like that. So that's why I'm collecting gems and all that stuff. And there's a lot of areas where the gems are random, but usually the routing is done to kind of mitigate that randomness, but sometimes it doesn't work out. The first 2 levels are kind of the worst in terms of being able to not finish. But even if you don't have enough levels by the end, you can still go back to the beginning with the same amount of gems and continue again until you have enough. So it doesn't really lose that much time. It's not like a complete disaster. But the first 2 levels is where you're going to see it, if anything. I mean, I can really screw up like I did in my last marathon run. But it's definitely something that can happen, and it's not that rare. Okay. So one thing I'll do to push this rock is use a formation. So with the C-stick, you can do different kind of formations of the links. So the box formation, which I use here, is really good for... it's a very offensive one, which you'll see me using that for most of the fights and stuff. Because it basically just makes Link into a 4x4 Link that you can do different things with, like spin attack and all that kind of stuff. So here I'm going to do kind of the first trick in the game, and this is actually kind of the first trick that was found in this game, is getting the fire rod early. You'll see me pick up like an invisible block and get the fire rod. You normally have to go in the backyard to get that fire rod, but just because of how the layers are constructed, you can get that fire rod without going to the backyard. You'll see these shadow links kind of everywhere. There's kind of 2 kinds of shadow links, where there's those where they're just randomly in the environment, and every time you kill them you get 100. There's also shadow link fights, which we'll see in the next level. And the first trick I'm going to do here is called Out of Bounds, which is 1 frame. I'm going to try to get it first. I have to press X on a frame when I enter this screen. And then they put my links over the bridge, so I can just skip to the bridge right away. That saves about like a minute or to a minute and a half, because there's this whole right section with like a waterfall and stuff that we completely skip by doing that. My gems are okay, but I still cannot have enough, possibly, if I get unlucky here. So all these gems that are dropping down are random. Okay, I got pretty lucky, so I don't have to worry about it. Should be good. But sometimes, like, so the red gems are 20s, and sometimes you only get like 3 or 4 20s if you get unlucky enough. It's pretty crazy how much it can vary. Like, I think the task barely even has 1,000 going into that screen, where I had 1,200. So, yeah, like, the variance is literally like 300 to 400 gems just on that screen by itself. Which is kind of unfortunate, but usually when people do that level, they get as many gems as they can. 420. Alright, so there's a trick in the second screen of this level that I'm really bad at. I kind of need to practice it, but it basically allows me to save a small key. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. It's okay. And basically I'm using the lag that happens when you get rid of that fire that's in the middle of the screen. And it allows me to clip through the door that's to the right here, which lets me save the small key that it normally gives me. Alright, it worked. Thank God. Okay. So normally I would have to get the small key that's on the bottom part of this room, but since I saved the small key from the first room, I don't have to go get that, and I can just use it here. Nice. The next trick I'm going to do in here is called formation menu clipping. And using the formation menu and rolling, you can clip through various actors. It's a very precise trick, and I don't know why I do it there, but it looks cool, I guess. So actors in this game are considered they're basically like NPCs and certain objects that can move, or kind of disappear, or something like that. Like things that can melt, sort of. I don't know, there's really no encompassing rule that you can call something an actor, but any of those things you can kind of roll through, or use the menu to clip through. We'll see some more of that a little bit later. That was bad. Again, this is another level where I can kind of get... So you see the 100 kind of dropped off to the right there. It's really stupid. So it's kind of unfortunate because I know I have to pick up an extra chest, but I still have enough to finish the level, which is good. So normally I would only have to pick up this 100, but I also have to get this 50, because I got sort of unlucky. So in this next room is the first Shadow Link fight. This one is definitely the easiest in the game. But later on, they're basically the source of the luck in this game. Some fights later on are super annoying, and you can lose like literally a minute if you get super unlucky. You can usually stun the Shadow Links with all kinds of weapons. There's a couple fights where you don't have weapons at all, and it makes the fights very, very random and kind of annoying. Alright, the next level is one of the hardest in the game. This was going very badly yesterday. So, there's a lot of tricks right in a row. I'll try to explain them, but I might have to explain it afterwards during the cutscene or something. I just want to make sure I'm not standing here for 2 minutes trying to get a dumb trick. The first trick I'm going to do is called Owl Skip. It's just doing a bunch of stuff just to skip the owl. You can see the perch on the right-hand side there. Green is the only one that actually activates the cutscene when you're in formation. So I can kind of use that to my advantage to get the other links past the owl. We actually don't talk to any... It's possible to not talk to any owls except for the first one in this game. There's about like 5 owl conversations during the whole game, maybe even more. You can skip all of them, except for the first one. So this level actually has a lot of backtracking and kind of side screens, but we go straight through. We don't even go left or right. We just keep on going up until we're done. Alright, this is the first trick. I'm just gonna do this first. I have to get out of bounds first and then do some FMC stuff. Okay, good. So when I enter the screen, I jump slash, and that gives my links a little more momentum. And then I get out of bounds, and then I have to do some kind of roll and reunite thing so that Green gets on the wall. And then using the momentum from the jump slash, that my other links did, I can roll to the top, where that basically skips a small key that you have to go to the left side of the level for. And then this next skip is barrier skip, which I had a lot of trouble with yesterday, and I really hope it doesn't take me that long. Alright, first... I'm doing another FMC. It's a little different without rolling, but... Alright, thank God. So I want to get purple to a specific spot. And then, once I do that, I want to cancel the menu and then deselect him as soon as I can. I think it's about 1 frame to do that. But yesterday I missed it like a million times. This next trick is going to go by really fast, so I'll try to explain it, but it's called jump storage. So if you store your Link's jump like off a cave inside a GBA screen and then come out, they can kind of jump on the TV screen. And depending on how the rooms are laid out, you can skip certain things. You can do that in a lot of places, but it's only helpful in a few places because of how the layers are set up and stuff. So there, we're lucky that the layers are set up in the right way so that the other links can jump to the top of the screen there. That guy also has a 2-cycle, which you can kind of see me doing some weird combinations there. He only gets up after you do a certain amount of damage, and so basically the combinations that I did there are the exact amount of damage before he gets up. Or actually, it's like the most amount you can do. So basically, we damage him so that it's like 1 point below him getting up, and then we do the biggest attack that we have, which is a jump slash in the box formation. And so by doing that, you can do basically exactly his HP in 2 cycles. This is the first maiden that we saved. We have to save, well, I guess 6 more and Zelda. And so now we're on to level 2, which has some interesting levels. The first one actually has a really cool glitch. It's kind of unfortunate that it's not used in the other areas. There's only one other spot you could possibly use it in, but it involves likes and stuff. It's a very cool graphical glitch, at least. Basically lets you walk anywhere. And we're also going to use FMC again, which allows us to go through actors, which, like I said, actors are kind of like NPCs. So there's a very, very big lady that we want to get past, so we're going to use that. Use that trick to get past her. Oh, jeez. There you go. So there's 2 different kinds of FMCs. The one I just did is just a regular FMC. Those ones aren't too precise. And the roll FMC, which I did in the cave level 1-2, that's actually 1 frame. So if you don't perfectly do those cancels, or those formation menu clips, then you get sent back to where you started. So they're way more precise than just regular FMCs. So I'll do a couple more roll FMCs, and I'll probably fail them a lot because they're super difficult. But the regular FMCs without rolling aren't too bad. Okay, so if you stun the like while green is in him, you can basically push him around and go through anything you want. And so using that, we can go to this upper level, which allows us to go faster through this section. Oh, as is the first Nova bomb screen. So those bombs that are on the screen, if you're on the TV screen, when they explode, you instantly die. So I'm trying to avoid being on the TV screen when they're blowing up. Which is why I'm waiting sometimes. Just to make sure I don't accidentally get hit. Come on, dude. I have to wait for this 100. A lot of the times in this game, you have to check your gem count. Because like I said, there's a lot of places where gems are random. And so you have to take backups constantly and kind of think ahead and see how many gems you need. Wow, I am so short on gems. I got really unlucky. Yeah, I got 2 bottles of water, making sure I'm not disappointing a hydrated bot or whatever. I got a full 32 ounces for 4 hours. Oh, come on. Alright, so this is the lobster. Doesn't deserve an actual name. I don't care what it is. He's really annoying. So if you hit the wrong claw with the wrong color, they all come back. And the more claws that are off, the faster he is. And one of the things that really sucks about him is that whenever he freezes or bounces off a wall, it's random if he goes clockwise or counterclockwise. So a lot of the times you kind of have to predict where he's going or react where he's going. And if he gets stuck in a corner, it's very risky to attack him, because more likely than not, you'll hit the wrong claw. And that specific screen is probably one of the worst, just because sometimes he can bounce like a million times and you just don't know what's happening. So if you kind of remember this game casually, this is probably one of the ones you remember. So this level is all about just a big trading sequence to get the Rock's Feather. And, actually, the Rock's Feather and a book to spawn a house. And luckily we can actually skip the whole trading sequence, because the only thing that's getting between us and that book is just this gap that's only 3 tiles big. And it's just that one right there. And that's it. So we skip the whole trading sequence, and we can get the book and get the Rock's Feather. And just go to the end of the level. Now you notice that I still need 2,000 gems. Normally, we would do the bow minigame, which was on a couple screens back, to get all the gems that we needed. But kind of recently, this isn't gonna work. Alright, whatever. Recently we found out that we could actually dupe gems. It's a very specific situation, it's not like it can be used everywhere. But there is a couple levels where we can take advantage of it. And this is one of them. So you have to leave the same frame you get a gem. And that's just as hard as it sounds, kind of. Luckily there are some setups that make it a little bit easier, but it's still pretty precise for kind of what it is. Right. So I have to dupe this a lot. Oh my god. Oh no, I pressed the Y button. That's bad. Okay, well we're playing the bow minigame apparently. Damn, I pressed the Y button. Usually that's a pretty safe setup, but I kind of fat-fingered my controller, and So, I haven't done the boom minigame in like a really long time. Like probably 8 months or something? I don't know. We'll see how this goes. This is one of my the least favorite parts of the game for me. Because the bow minigame was so awful. Sometimes you would lose a lot of time. Alright, well, we'll see how this goes. I don't know how many I need, but... Okay. That was fine. Yeah, so... if you don't have enough, you just play again until you have enough, and then it warps you back to the barriers. This next level is actually one of the longest in the game, but we found a way to skip everything, which is pretty cool. You actually don't get any items until the very end. Normally you have to get... There's kind of like two parts of the dungeon. One part you get a bow, and the other part you get a lamp. And then once you get both of them, you can kind of cross this bridge that lets you close to the boss area. These guys are kind of annoying sometimes. There. Oh, I shouldn't get hurt that much. Alright. I have to die, so that's why I'm kind of getting hit. I just kind of want to be careful. Alright. So I have to get out of bounds here again. Come on. Sometimes this trick just takes forever. Okay. So now that my links are out of bounds, I'm gonna die, and I basically did a glitch called zombie storage right now. So the next time that I die with my links visible, the other links, next time they die, they're not gonna be revived again. And so I'm gonna try to take advantage of that to clip into the door that's at the top of the screen. This trick is a little random, and sometimes it just doesn't work, or the skeletons juke me out, which is a high probability. What is this guy doing? Just go up, please. Okay, it worked. Good. So, you see that blue isn't here? And so blue is actually near where I got out of bounds on the upper left-hand corner. And so what I'm doing is I'm basically just crawling him to the door that's on the north side of the screen. And so now I'm just holding upright until blue clips into the door, and then I'll die again. And once you die again, all your links revive with you, and you can continue. And so like I said, you see those switches kind of in the middle of the screen? Normally you would use the bow to hit them, and that would spawn a bridge. Then you have to go to the right side here. There's a whole nother section to get the lamp. And once you get the lamp, you can open this door that I'm clipping through. And so we're skipping basically all of that and just going straight through it. And of course we have a tile room, which is always great. Can't skip this, unfortunately. One thing I forgot to mention is you see these numbers that are up, so it's basically your combo count. So it's the enemies that you've killed without getting hit in a row. And so you see I got 10 there, that means a 20 will drop. And so if I keep on doing this, I'll get more and more gems. And this is actually kind of important for this level and some other levels later on. And once I get 30, I'll get a 50 to drop, and if I get 40... Okay, well, I'm not gonna get 40, but... Oh god. And actually, that's different for each version of the game. So, the PAL version, you can actually get 1,000 gem drop if you get enough kills. That's not in any other version of the game. The combo counters are kind of busted. Like, they don't really do what they should do. Because I forget which version it is. It might even be this one. Basically, after a certain point, if you keep on killing, like, a certain amount, you just keep on getting Force Fairies, and that's it. If you haven't noticed, Force Fairies just revive you, and eventually you get enough where it just doesn't matter. But the PAL version, they actually fixed it, and I think it works probably like it was supposed to. I think you get 1,000 gems if you kill 100 in a row. Nice. Okay, this boss does have a 1 cycle, but I don't think I will get it because I don't have enough gems. Which is okay, it doesn't really save that much time anyway. Give me that heart. I didn't realize I was almost dead. That's okay. I almost got the legendary 3 cycle. Probably should have just turned the game off at that point. Actually, is it the JP version that just doesn't give you anything after a while? And then in the US version, they fixed it to give you fairies. And then PAL version gives you gems or something. After you hit like 100, it doesn't even count anymore. It just has like exclamation points whenever you get a combo. Okay, so now we're on to World 3. World 3 is pretty fun. I kind of like it, but I don't because it has some really hard stuff in it. Like, it has another out of bounds, and it has some formation menu clipping rolls and stuff. But if it goes well, it's pretty fun to do. It just has a lot of stuff that can lose a bunch of time. So this next screen, I just have to kill all the archers. Archers are really... Their AI is really weird. So you have, like, the archers and you have the soldiers. And the soldiers are less aggressive. Like, they play more defensive than the archers. The archers literally try to run into you. Even though it seems like they probably shouldn't, because they're archers. So their AI is super annoying to deal with. Especially in some later levels. So here, I think, is the first formation hover. This is actually one of the first tricks found in this game, and it's the absolute worst trick in the game. Not this trick specifically, but just formation hovering in general. It's super inconsistent, because you're kind of oscillating on the wall and stuff. It's just really weird, and I don't know, you can't really make sense of it. You just kind of have to do it and hope it doesn't fail. It used to be like the only trick in the run, basically, when I first started running. But it kind of got phased out with other tricks, thank God. They still exist in some parts, but they're definitely not as bad as they used to be. Alright, I really have to make sure I don't die, because if I die, it's really bad. I need this medallion for the next screen. And if I die, my Link automatically drops it. So, okay. So if you don't have the medallion on the screen, you have to push this house around and kill everybody. And you see that, like, annoying fence that's in the middle, so it can get pretty hard. I've never actually done it in a run before, and I never want to. Like, if I died, I probably would have just reset, honestly. Like, reset the level. Because I never want to do that in a run. These guys are interesting. They have, like, 2 different kinds of attacks, Or they can grab you, or they can throw rocks. Or I guess there's a third attack where they just run into you. If they grab you, you lose a bunch of gems. You can get them back, so it doesn't really matter. Oh, like that. Missed a jump slash there. Jump slashes are pretty precise in this game. You have a 2-frame window to press the sword and a direction. So I do miss it a few times every run usually. This out of bounds is super annoying. Sometimes the ogres wind up on the right side of the screen. And you can keep on getting hit as you're trying to re-enter the cave. I'll get this eventually. Oh my god. I swear I'm like 1 frame away. Oh my god. Okay, I don't think that one was really close. Okay, we got it. Here's a super jump. So if you jump on... If you go down cliffs that you're not normally supposed to go down, some very weird things can happen. It kind of happened in the coast area where I did that like light clip. It's a similar thing. Luckily there's only one more out of bounds in the game, so... and I hope that one doesn't take as long. I missed that. You can do a thing there where you can pick up all the gems at once. It's kind of difficult. I've been missing it a lot, so... Doesn't really matter too much. Yeah, so if you haven't noticed yet, if you're like holding something, like a pot or another link, if you touch a big gem, you won't get the cutscene where you're raising it above your head. So sometimes you try to do that just to save like a half a second or whatever, wherever it works out. Alright, so 3-2 starts, well, it starts with an owl skip, another one. And then we also have another lag clip, or a freeze clip, that we did in one of the first levels with the fire. If I don't miss it. Okay. So using kind of the lag that the fire generates when you extinguish it, lets you clip through walls and stuff whenever you're in a formation. Whoa, that was... okay. So here, I can skip the hammer. Just by doing a... That's one of the rare times you'll see a C left formation. So in C left, you kind of have like a special spin attack. Oops. That's okay, I think. How do I do this? Okay. I don't know. Please... okay, I can fix this, I think. Just do this. Yeah. Okay. I want blue to have a pot so I can do something, another glitch called floating link glitch, which lets you float in the air if you're holding an item. There's many different versions of it. I'll kind of explain it later when we use it. But basically using it, I can kind of do this fake transition here, which lets me get up earlier. There's another level where I use that glitch more extensively, I'll explain it then. But essentially, you can kind of get stuck in the air, and it's not as useful as it sounds, because you can actually do it in a lot of places. But you don't actually go over holes and stuff like that, even though you are floating. It's a very weird glitch that's not very useful, except in one particular level. And luckily here we can jump over all these holes. In past routes you didn't have the rocks feathers, so you'd actually have to wait for the rocks to land. And sometimes that would actually take like a minute or something, no joke. It was kind of awful. So again, the fire is an actor, so I can do FMCs through it, which lets me not have to worry about taking a water pot and extinguishing the fire. So this is one of the first fights that can be really annoying and stupid. You actually don't know what the real one is, so you just have to guess. And, I mean, this one isn't too awful, because normally you can kill all 4 pretty fast. But there's some of them where... because they can go inside these houses that are on this screen. But usually they don't, because you can kill them fast enough. But in other levels, you can't... That was another owl skip, by the way. In other levels, you can't actually prevent them from going in whatever's on the screen sometimes. So, you can lose, like, a minute or something, if you get really unlucky. So first for this boss, we just have to knock off his mask, and then we just kill him after that. Very similar to how you beat him in Wind Waker, I guess. It's random whether he goes to the top or bottom one first, on that second phase there. And hopefully I can get a 1 cycle. So just by timing your jump slashes right, you can beat him before he gets up. Alright, next level is pretty, it can go really badly. It's one of my favorites, but, I don't know. Sometimes I just don't like it, because there's some just, like, really stupid stuff that can happen. But the movement in some of the screens is pretty awesome. And it also does have some FMC rolls, which I don't like as well. I do like them when they go correctly. And lately they haven't been, but we'll see. This next room has some pretty cool movement to get past this fire maze. They don't screw it up. And then this next screen has a FMC roll, which I'll try to do. Alright, that was close enough, I guess. One other thing you have to be worried about is whenever you hit the fire here, or most of the time, you lose about like 50 to 60 rupees. Or rupees. Nice. Force gems. And so you have to be careful about not having enough gems sometimes. Though this level isn't too bad with gems. So normally at this point, that basically skipped having... Oh, I forgot to explain the gap skip. So, using formations and jump slashes, you can get across some gaps. You'll see it a couple times later on as well. But normally you need the Rock's Feather to get past that room, which is basically an auto-scroller to the left. You can skip it here too by just abusing reformation mechanics, or whatever you want to call it. And these next rooms are some of my favorites. You can jump slash over this fire, which is pretty cool. Or just not do that. Okay, well. And this abuses a lot of iframes from the lava. Okay. No, what are you doing? I normally need the Rock's Feather to get this green gem that's kind of bouncing up and down. But again, abusing the lava, we can get it without needing the Rock's Feather. This is the next Shadow Link fight. It's not too bad, but it can be kind of annoying with all these flames that are going around. And again, you lose gems whenever you get hit, and a lot of the times they get lost in the lava. So you don't want to be too crazy and lose all your gems. Alright, I got lucky, so that's good. And he's even panel. Sometimes he jumps to the corners of the screen, which are really annoying. And I messed it up. Please hit the bomb. Oh my god, and these guys are ruthless. Jesus. I'll grab this 150, I guess. This game has, like, magnets when it comes to holes, and whenever you get hit, it seems like it just drags you to whatever the closest hole is, no matter how you even got hit by the enemy in the first place. It's pretty dumb. These guys can be really, this is another reason why this level sucks, even though I like it. These Zodongos are very random. You have to bomb them 3 times, and then they'll die. Yesterday, and also the last time I did a marathon run, when I did a practice run for that, I had 2 of the Dodongos open their mouths 3 times, and the first one didn't even open their mouth once. So I had to wait for like a whole another 3 cycles for the other Dodongo. It's just kind of an example of how bad this level can be. Alright, this is another FMC roll. I might not get this one. This one's pretty hard. So that one skipped an owl conversation. So normally in that room you have to go to the right on a balcony. And you talk to the owl and then the fire gets extinguished that I roll through. But you can save a few seconds by just doing that. Although it's a lot more difficult than it looks. It's basically like, it's kind of like 3 or 4 one-frame inputs in a row, and if you miss one, you get hit by the fire and have to try it again. So this next level is actually pretty interesting. It doesn't actually use, well, it basically doesn't use any glitches. It's just kind of like an oversight of how they constructed the level. So in the beginning of the level, you're supposed to use the horses that they give you to traverse it. And in the second part of the level, you have to basically do this side quest of killing Gomas. And the only way to kill Gomas, or at least those Gomas, are to use the bow that you have to do like kind of another quest for. But another way to kill the Gomas are to use the horses themselves. Now the problem is, at the end of the horse section, it automatically cancels out your horse buff, I guess. But if we activate the horses after that trigger, then we can actually keep the horses and just run over the Gomas. And this section's really annoying. So I talked about the archers being super aggressive. You'll see that they'll, unless I do it right, or I get, they're super aggressive and they basically just run into you and get in your way completely, rather than staying from a distance, which I think archers would normally do, but you know. So this next section can get pretty bad sometimes. Oh, what? Okay, I got lucky there. So now, activating the horses after that part, I can just run these guys over. And then since I killed them all, this guy will give me a shovel, which I need to progress in the... level. And I'm also going to dupe another gem. This time it's going to be 1,000 gem. This one's a lot more difficult than 2-2, even though I missed 2-2. It's the first time I missed it in a while, but... I hope I get this one. I seem to miss this one pretty often. It's not really that huge of an issue if I miss it, but... we'll see. Okay, I got it. Cool. So it basically instantly gave me 2,000 gems by doing that. And I use this medallion to kill all the archers here. It's not really much faster to do that, but it's definitely easier. And so now we're going to see our first jewel fight. So these are kind of annoying. They're just annoying because they take so long to do. It's just this little battle sequence where you kill all the enemies up top, and you kill the soldier on the bottom. What are you doing? Okay, whatever. Their hitboxes are super bad, and they're super annoying to fight. But anyway, once you beat them, you get this jewel. They don't do anything. I mean, they're supposed to do anything in the story, but it doesn't actually matter if you get them or not. Near the end of the game, we'll actually skip one of them. The game's not going to care that we actually skip it, but whatever. You can't skip the other ones. This is the only one that's actually close to being skipped. You can skip it in 2-player, actually. But it's pretty close to being skipped in 1-player. We just can't make the transition, essentially. There's a lot of things you need in order to skip these things. Because actually, even if you had access to the transition, you still couldn't do it because the game actually locks the screen completely. So you can't transition even if you wanted to. But one of the things that does unlock the screen are medallions, and you know that I used the medallion on the previous screen there. So I could technically take it to this screen and unlock it. But for this specific fight, we don't have a way to make the transition. In co-op, you can, because of various co-op mechanics. But, yeah, so you basically need a medallion and some way to transition. And there's only one level that allows us to do that, in single player anyway. Alright, so now I have the swamp. This is probably one of the most notorious levels, in the speedrun anyway. This is the last time I'm going to use out of bounds, thankfully. I hope it doesn't take me like an hour. But there's a lot more things that can go wrong as well. But hopefully it's not an issue. I really want to get it on this first cycle, but might be here for like a year trying to get this stupid trick. It only saves like 20 seconds. Oh my god, come on. Damn it. So close. Okay, I got it. So in terms of co-op, the only thing that's really interesting... I mean, you can speedrun with 4 players, nothing's stopping anybody. But the only thing that's actually interesting is the 2-player run. Because co-op, the 2-player run specifically, has unique glitches to it. The main problem with co-op is that when you finish each of the levels, there's this results screen that counts gems, and if you're playing with more than 2 people, it also has this voting thing that's really dumb. And I mean, the results screen is literally like, it's almost like 20 minutes of the run probably, if I had to guess. And also just movement in general with more people on the screen is basically impossible, because the roll button is the same as the grab button. So a lot of the times you're just grabbing your friends a bunch. And in 2-player it's even annoying because you can steal your other friends' links, which is super dumb. But yeah, 4-player it would basically just be glitchless and take a super long time. But co-op is interesting, and definitely worth looking into or running if you're interested. Although, it's not as, like... So this game has a lot of resources on, like, ZSR, and there's a lot of help with it. For co-op, there's not as much documentation, and kind of a lot of stuff is still can still be worked out in that, because there's only been a few runs done, I guess, and those people that did the few runs, like Yadra and Toadswood, kind of know all the information when it comes to co-op, where I guess everyone else doesn't really know too much about it. Although later in this run, 2-player will be used, so I'll be using a Game Boy SP and a GameCube controller with the Game Boy player to do the last level. So even though co-op does have the results screen, the exclusive glitch is mainly with the boomerang in co-op. Allows me to make the last level super quick, which is really cool. You skip everything pretty much. Damn, I almost got the flamethrower. So when he's in his tiniest phase, he actually has a chance to do flamethrower attack, which, as a community, we've only seen like less than 10 times. But it's pretty epic when he does it. Okay, so this is one of the very few games, or very few levels that are glitchless. There's no skips in this level at all. It's one of 2. And really, the second glitchless level does have a few skips in it, but I mean, none of them are really that big. At least, you know, relatively to other levels that we've already done. But this level is one of my favorites, just because it has, you know, it is glitchless and it has a lot of cool movement stuff in it. Excuse me. But actually in co-op, this level's super broken, because you can get the boomerang if you get caught and go to jail. Come on, ghost, please. So if you get the boomerang, you can actually just completely skip you can actually skip the boss of this level and go directly to the barriers. It seems like it would be faster for me to do that by myself. Just like 2 players, 1 controller type thing. But it does take quite a bit of long time, because you still have to get 2,000 gems, and that's kind of a problem in this level. So in this next room, it's basically a maze. You can shoot these switches to kind of light up the platform, but you know, you can just memorize it and go along the correct path. Oh, come on, dude. What was that? Okay, so now I have the boss. This boss is pretty weird because he doesn't actually have like HP or anything. You just have to do a certain amount of hits. Like, it doesn't matter how strong the hits are. You just have to do 9 hits to the little bug guy inside him. Oops. That was weird. So I just have to hit him once on the outside, and then he'll suck me in, and I have to kill this bug guy. Which again, I just have to do 9 hits, so I can just poke him. Doesn't really matter what I do. I don't think there's really any other bosses that are like that, for the most part. This boss can get pretty chaotic, especially in the 3rd phase when you have a bunch of ghosts that are chilling. And navigating around them is pretty annoying. And you also don't want to get caught by his lamp, because if you do that, then he blows out all of the torches. Sometimes he just does this. And then 9th hit, he's dead. Oh, so I was talking about kind of gems being random a lot of the time. Luckily, bosses aren't random when it comes to gem counts. They always drop around... something around 1270. It's kind of different per boss sometimes, but they basically all drop the same amount. So at least that's consistent. If that wasn't consistent, I don't know if this game would actually be runnable, to be honest. The only thing that's really random are when the gems kind of rain down. Or those, Actually, I don't know if we've seen them. The things that are really random with gems are when they rain down from the top, the rocks that we hit, which you'll see in the next level. You only do that once, though. And, the fountains that spew out gems. They're also random. But other than that, it's not really too big of an issue. The other thing that can be random are Shadow Links. So when you're in the Shadow Link fights, not just the random Shadow Links that are chillin' with different items. The Shadow Links in the fight can randomly drop 150 or 100. So sometimes that can make a little difference in routing, but you never count on that happening, because it's probably like a 1 in 4 chance of them actually dropping it, if I had to guess. The Lobster can also drop 150s randomly too. Alright, so this is the Lost Woods. This level has not changed route since the very first time I ran this game. Although the tricks have changed. Although, okay, maybe the gem route changed, but the general idea of the route has stayed the same for a while. So we do skip a lot of levels, as you may have seen. But usually, for levels that we skip, like, a ton of, we get lucky enough where the gems aren't too big of an issue. This is one of those cases where you really have to kind of scavenge for gems. So a lot of that just involves burning the whole forest. And just kind of getting as much as you can. So that skip that I just did there skipped getting the Rock's Feather, and we basically get to save the key that we got on the previous screen. Then we have another gap skip to go back, which I hope this works. Alright, we're good. Sometimes that skip can be a little weird. And so, we can just use this key to get to the end, pretty much. Because once we have the lamp and the key, we can get what we need, which is the shovel, and continue to the end. But we don't have enough gems, like I said. So we have to go around this whole area and just burn everything. And just try to get to 2,000. So when I'm burning this stuff, the gems are consistent, so the stumps will drop 5 and the bushes will drop 1. So the only thing that's really random about this level, in terms of gems, is this rock coming up on the next screen. It's pretty rare that it's so bad that you won't have enough, but sometimes you have to burn some extra stuff depending on what happens. So really I just want the reds and the blue gems. Now, this looks kind of okay. Oh, I almost got grabbed there. That would have been bad. I think I'm fine. So I'm aiming for 1750, and then there's some more stuff I can get later. Grab these. So normally I wouldn't have to grab these gems that I'm grabbing here. But I got pretty unlucky with the rock, so I have to grab some extras. But I still had a lot to spare, so didn't really need to worry about it too much. And so this will be the last bit of gems that we need. So what you're supposed to do for this level is... Oh, I guess I never really explained, but there's level 2 items in this game. We actually skip all of them. So how you get level 2 items is you go to a Great Fairy, which are in various places around some levels. And they can upgrade all of your items. The only thing they can't upgrade is the lamp, I think. And everything else kind of has a level 2 version. So the level 2 version of the shovel just helps you find holes. So it actually doesn't... You don't actually need it, like, casually at all. But for other levels, you do need it. So, for example, for the Pegasus boots, if you get level 2 Pegasus boots, you can hover over... gaps. And you actually need to use that in 4.1, where we use the horses. So... but we actually skip all... Anytime you would actually need to do that in the run. So you never actually see the Great Fairy at all. Alright, we skip this whole dungeon, or this level. I'll explain it in a little bit. I'm really bad at the skip. Okay. So what you're supposed to do in this level is round up a bunch of thieves that are around. This level's normally like 7 minutes long. But... really all it does, all you're trying to do is get the fire rod. And the fire rod allows you to make it rain, like it's doing now. And that extinguishes the fire that we went through. And this is why this level sucks. So this is probably the worst Shadow Link fight in the game. Okay, okay. I don't know. So... So you light some torches with a fire rod, and you make it rain, and that fire extinguishes, you can go through it. But using FMC, or the formation menu clipping, you can just go through the fire right away, and continue. And again, this is the level that we skip pretty much all of, but for some reason, at the end of the game, or the level, they put all of these gems. And so we don't really have to care about gems in this level at all, because there's a lot at the end of it. Which is awesome. And so this is another jewel fight that's going to be coming up. It's basically the same thing as the first one. Instead of Stalfos, it's just these gray guards. But it's the same concept. So the next level is actually one of my favorites. It used to not be, but recently I've grown to like this level. Mostly because I'm not completely trash at it anymore. But it has a lot of small skips, and also like some big skips that are pretty cool. And they're kind of unique to the rest of the game, although I guess you can say that for a lot of levels. A lot of the levels that we do big sequence breaks in, The skips are kind of like only done on that level, or it might be the same glitch in another level, but it's kind of a different use. So that's kind of why I find this game a lot really interesting. There's so many different ways that the glitches are used. So this level has a lot of has a lot of backtracking and stuff, because this does introduce the eye switches where you have like the blue and red blocks and stuff. So this is an example of a little puzzle, but luckily we don't actually have to do that. Apparently I can't do this puzzle because it's super hard. But that's basically the only time we have to care about the switches, because we can skip kind of that whole theme of the level. Okay, so in this next screen, you have to push this like house around to get to different parts of this to get to different parts of the area. But we can use the gap skip that we use in some other levels to pass that. Because normally you have to push this thing that I'm bombing all the way to that spot to go through it. However, we still do need the house. The only way to move it is to bomb both the areas, so that's why I'm doing that here. But there's still those spikes on the right-hand side. And the only way to get rid of the spikes is to destroy them with the house, kind of pushing the house into it. So that's really all I have to use the house for. And this screen has this neat kind of respawn trick in it. This turtle gets out of the way. So if I kind of push up against the wall while I fall, it'll set my initial position to the beginning of the room for some reason. And so you can just warp back by falling into the hole. Just a small little skip here, where you skip the slingshot. I guess they want you to use a slingshot to hit the appropriate buttons. But just by using a jump slash, you can hit the middle one, instead of getting the slingshot. This next one is the biggest skip in the level. By doing kind of a trick with the hammer, you can avoid using the key that you're supposed to use in this room. Although sometimes it can be... that's not bad. So I hit that mole right there so I can go into it later. Because you have to... there's a key block on the left-hand side that you can see. Right down there. He's not dead. Please die. Why aren't you dead? Can I reach this guy? So by hitting that mole, I can not use this key on that key block and save it for later, which skips a whole section of this dungeon. Please. Okay, so now I just need to get, I still need one more key to get to the end of the level. So I'm just getting that real quick. And I need to hit these switches to spawn a bridge so I can walk back and forth. Well, you can technically not do it, but it is slower. And so this upcoming lamp room probably has the most recent skip in the game. So you don't actually have to light all of the torches here, because once you light a certain amount of them, or rather the certain ones, It causes a little bit of lag, and we can use the freeze clip to get to the staircase that we need. Dude, these rats are insane. They're so good. I'm trying to grab this just in case. So we just need to light these 4 torches. There's still 2 more torches that I needed to light, but lighting those specific torches causes freeze frames whenever I light that 4th torch. So the other 2 aren't really necessary. And now this is another skip in this dungeon. You can skip killing these bumper guys. And hopefully not dying. Oh, please work. Okay, that was weird. I don't know what to do here. Okay. I'm just gonna hope I don't die. I should be okay. So there I get a different kind of FLG with the pot, and that lets me not get hit. It basically gives me invincibility. As long as I still am holding the pot. So I use that so I don't get hit by the white balls, and it just makes that fight a little more consistent. It doesn't make the fight completely trivial. Oh yeah, I forgot the most important skip in the game. So there I use Hurricane Spin, which is exactly what it is from Wind Waker, essentially. You only get it when you have the level 2 sword. But normally there's a cutscene there, where one of the maidens says that they stole a mirror or something. And you can skip it by just abusing the Hurricane Spin mechanics. Now I got the 2 top-tier maidens. Might as well just not even finish the game. I mean, Zelda's pretty good too, I guess. Alright, World 6 is probably the hardest world in the game. I don't know if hardest is really the right word, it just has a lot of dumb stuff. There's some luck involved, there's some really stupid tricks. But 6.1 has actually gone through the most recent changes in this run so far. It's actually only a couple weeks old. Usually this happens whenever Yadra is thinking about tassing. Because whenever she gets to a level, we kind of talk about things and then we get ideas and different stuff. So this level used to not have a gem dupe in it. But recently there was one added. It doesn't really save, I guess, too much time. It's still pretty cool. Because it's a different type of gem dupe that we had in the previous levels that have used it. And it uses one that you get from bonking on a tree. This is also a level where you normally get the level 2 boots. So after this screen, you normally go to the Great Fairy. You get level 2 boots, and then you can go over quicksand and all that stuff. And remember I said before that the floating link glitch isn't too useful. Besides in very specific situations, like the invincibility on the last stage that we just did. And stuff like that. But the way that the holes are in this level, because they're a lot different than other levels, FLG actually does go over them. So I will be using that pretty much exclusively to skip a lot of things in this level, and it essentially lets you skip the level 2 boots just by abusing that mechanic. So I'll be using it on almost every screen after this. I also have to be very careful about gems too. So that's another FLG thing. It's another one. Okay, so this is where you can dupe a gem. If I remember how to do it. Oh god. Right. So again, I just want to collect the gem the same frame that... on the same frame that I leave. And so you can dupe the gem in that tree like that. It's like a completely different setup than the other ones, too. Here's another instance of FLG, which is pretty cool. So, the cacti aren't really stacked, like exactly, and so you can actually go through their hitboxes. But again, FLG makes you invincible pretty much, so that's why you can go through them. You can't normally do that if you're just on the ground. And here we have a double bonk mechanic, which is pretty sick. Oh, I almost completely screwed that up. Hey, thanks, Yakamoth. I'm trying my best. Somehow this run isn't a complete disaster. We're gonna do jump storage again, here, like we did in the first world. So again, if you store a jump with the other links on a GBA screen and then leave, if everything kind of aligns correctly, you can jump to a certain part of the TV screen when you walk out. The Shadow Link fight can be pretty annoying, because sometimes they do just kind of leave and go inside the cave. Usually you can... Oh, they didn't lay a bomb. This is how the fight normally goes. It's pretty nice, for the most part. Oh, I guess I don't need that gem. Nice. Yeah, so that cave that gave me the 150, I needed to hit that switch so the cactus would go away. I can technically FMC through the cactus that's in the way, but I don't think it's worth it. It's pretty hard. So this is the final gem we're going to get. Thankfully. These cutscenes take forever. Well, okay, I'm not gonna say that yet because it's very easy to screw up the skip for the last one we're gonna get later. But I'm just assuming that I don't. Because if I miss it, if I screw that skip up, it basically wastes like a minute and a half. It's pretty bad. So you see there is a fourth one, but we're going to skip it, even though the game will still give it to us when we skip it later on, which you'll see in the inventory later. So 6.2 has probably some of the worst, just like, screens in the game. And not even in a speedrun setting. There's one screen in particular that is just very poorly made. It doesn't really function like it's supposed to. It also has, it's one of my favorite tricks, but it is pretty difficult because you do kind of have to react to different, depending on the luck that you get. And it's a lot of improvisation, which is why it's my favorite trick, but it doesn't mean that I get it all the time. Last time I did this, I wasted like a minute and a half. It was pretty awful. So I need this blue turtle to be in a very specific spot. And so I'll use my sword to get him in that position, as long as people aren't in the way. This should work. Nice. So if I get him in a very specific position, I can get purple to phase through the key block and hit the switch that's underneath the pot. Oops. The position that the turtle has to be in is really precise. And a lot of the times you have to work around where the turtle's initial position is. So again, it takes a lot of kind of like improvisation and stuff, which is why I like it. But sometimes the turtle is just in like an almost impossible spot. It's pretty dumb. I don't want you to have the key. Guess it didn't really matter. And then this next screen is pretty bad. There's like a lot of freeze frames and lag, and hitboxes are super awful. It's pretty much everything that is bad about this game into one room. So since I lit the torches in this order, this last torch won't light, like you saw there. And so you actually have to shoot it twice. If you do the torches in a different order, which is normally slower, I guess, you can actually get that to light all the torches. But it's... I don't know. It's a very weird room. I am very short on gems. Whatever, screw it. That was... And so these specific Gomas you can actually kill with just throwing links at, for some reason. Normally you need to use the bow, and it takes 3 shots, which is quite a while, because you have to wait for his eye to open up. But those specific Gomas that move laterally like that, you can kill by just throwing links at. The ones that were in 4-1 that we killed with horses are actually... You can't kill them... Oh man, I'm bad. That is not good. Okay, don't screw this up, please. Okay, I just hope that guy doesn't go inside. Never mind. Okay. It's alright. So this is another one that can be pretty bad. Because you can usually get 2 pretty consistently, but who knows what the other 2 are going to do, and sometimes they jump around down here. And if they jump around in the underground area, you have to come back out of the area and go back in. And you can lose quite a bit of time there sometimes. Oh yeah, like I was saying, the Gomas in the level that we killed with the horses, they're different. They're a different type of Goma, so you can't actually kill them by throwing your links at them. You can only kill the ones that move laterally and shoot those little thingies, those bullets or whatever. So this level is actually probably one of the longest ones. At least in terms of glitch lists, anyway. So if you weren't to skip anything. But there is a very large skip that you can do in this dungeon, which is pretty cool. And it uses actually the same concept that we did in the previous level, where we use an enemy to clip through. Although it's a much longer clip, and bigger one. I'm gonna try to make this bomb cycle. I feel like I might die. Alright, I'm good. You have to do the first switch pretty quickly in order to get that cycle of the bomb. It only saves a few seconds, but... you can get more gems. So you can take your time in this section. Okay, so now the only thing I need here is a slingshot. And once I get the slingshot, I can stun an enemy and use them to clip through a wall. This whole area is basically just a circle. And you do a bunch of stuff to get to the center of the circle to get bombs. So we're just gonna cut... Oh no, please What is this guy doing? Right, this is really bad. Stay there, please. Alright. So I have to get this guy in a very specific position so I can get to the center area. No, okay. I might die, but that's not a big deal. Wow, I'm really surprised that guy didn't hit me. I feel like... Okay, yeah. Alright. Dying in this game doesn't really matter too much, in most cases. It does lose, like, 12 seconds or something, minimum. I also got the blue ring. Oh, I thought I didn't make that, actually. Whoa, that was really fun. I also got the blue ring in the center there, and the blue ring negates the damage by half. And kind of like you can see now, I usually don't have a lot of hearts at this point, and it only takes like a second or two to get anyway. And also, I get hit by the boss intentionally a lot, so I just want to make sure that I, or at least minimize the chance of me dying. But most cases, you're just going to abuse FLG to hit him. And so this type of FLG is called recoil FLG. So whenever you jump slash something that makes like a tink sound, so these usually come from this guy's head or the large knight's shield. As long as you keep on holding a direction, you will continue to have the FLG state. And as we saw previously, the FLG state gives you invincibility, as long as you still have it. And you can't stop moving, because if you stop moving, you instantly lose it and go to the ground. And also what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to spin attack his head and tail at the same time, so that... What is going on here? This boss is so weird. Because if I spin attack his head, I'll keep on moving, and thus keep FLG. That was the weirdest boss fight. That was the weirdest boss fight I've ever had. They were both still alive at the end. So I just try to keep on spin attacking his head so that I keep the FLG state, but a lot of the times I miss and you have to reset. This game's really weird when it comes to spin attack mechanics. So like you have the normal quick spin, and then you have a quick spin out of a roll. So if you roll and then press B, it'll do a quick spin. And it stores that roll for a pretty long time, so a lot of the times you'll see me spin attack by accident and stuff like that. But you also get spin attacks in very weird situations where if you, so if you lose FLG and you don't move, you get a stored spin attack for some reason. It's really strange, and there's random situations like that that happen all the time. And so when I lose FLG in that fight, you have to be very careful, because a jump slash might come out as a spin attack instead, and then you'll get hit to the bottom area off of the arena. I guess I'll start trying to explain this next level. I probably won't explain everything, but you can use... So the next level has ice physics, and you can use ice physics to kind of manipulate transitions and stuff. And so we're going to do a lot of kind of out-of-bounds areas in the first, like, 30 seconds of the level. And we basically get the power bracelet early. So the first trick I do is abusing those ice physics, and then I do a bunch of other weird stuff. What am I doing? Alright. Come on, dude. Alright. So that let us get to the power bracelet early. And we use the power bracelet to lift up trees, kind of like we did in the swamp level before. And this is also the level that has the last jewel in it. And like I said, we're going to skip this jewel. But I need a medallion, so I'm going to get that first. Once you kill the head guard, these guys run away, and it kind of makes them annoying to kill sometimes. And you're all the way over there. Sick. So I'm gonna get the medallion. Wow, it's all the way down here. So you see I got a spin attack off of FLG there. Oh, I knew they didn't die. I knew it. I actually didn't lose that much time. So I'm gonna save this medallion to the very end of the level, which I almost threw it. Would have been great. I'll put it down here for now, because I still need a moon pearl. And so this is when I'm gonna do a lot of FMCs to bypass stuff, because normally you need the fire rod to get past this junk. But they're all actors, so I can roll through them if I don't suck. I suck at this strat. There's like 50 penguins on the screen. I screwed it up again. Whatever. So I'm trying to use bombs to kill them as fast as possible before they spawn. I did a really bad job at it. But I still killed like 20 of them, so it could have been a lot worse. Alright, so now I have to do it again to go back. This one's kind of difficult. Alright. I have to do this next one, which is about... It's about like 10 one-frame inputs in a row. Sometimes it takes me a really long time to get it. Every time I miss it, I get sent back. Alright, second try. It's pretty good. So, all of those FMCs that I did were basically just so I could skip the fire rod. Which you go to the right side of the level for. Then we get Lobster on Ice. Which, he used to be my least favorite, but I've gotten a little better at him. Now that I say that, I'll probably die. But, yeah. Okay, now he's kind of being a dick. Alright. No. Okay. Okay, that was almost really bad, because he bounced the other way. Okay. I almost threw the medallion. That would have been awful. So like I said, I need to save this medallion to the last screen, so I can unlock the screen, because without the medallion, even if I can go out of bounds... Let me make sure I don't screw this up. So even though I'm out of bounds here, I can't transition, because during these fights, the screen's completely locked and I can't leave, unless I do the fight itself. But the medallion automatically unlocks any screen that you're on, for some reason. So, if I bring the medallion all the way to the end there, I can just skip that fight completely, which also skips the cutscene. So even though the rest of the levels have ice in it, we're actually not going to abuse that ice mechanic anymore. Because it's not really useful in these other dungeons. Which is kind of sad, because it's a really cool mechanic. Oh, so this mechanic, I'm going to press 5 switches at once with 4 links. Which is kind of dumb. But that's actually really useful for this level later on. It doesn't really matter in this level too much, because you're just supposed to push the statue to the 5th switch. But it really helps later on because this is another level where you're supposed to get... what is it? You're supposed to get a level 2 fire rod, and that basically turns it into the Cane of Samaria from A Link to the Past. Oh, sick. I haven't visited this screen in like 2 years. Alright, that was a nice journey. Let me redo the screen. Alright. So we're gonna skip the level 2 cane of Samaria, and that trick that I did to press 5 switches at once is actually super crucial in this level, because if that didn't exist, we wouldn't be able to skip the cane completely. There's also some other uses for it, which we'll see later. I need this. But we'll get to that. And this is one of the worst rooms in the game. It's just like a joke. I don't really understand what they were doing. I think they just... maybe they're having a bad day or something. Somehow this went not too awful. But every time you get hit by those bomb shoes, you lose 100 rupees. Or... what am I saying, dude? 100 force gems. And they can, like, combo you pretty hard sometimes. The Shadowling fight is super easy. It's the last one, I'm pretty sure. Or the last one that we do. But it's consistent, thankfully. Helps that we have the fire rod as well. Oh, nice. You can do colors. Oh my god. This screen kind of has a tight cycle. If you don't get this earliest cycle, you have to wait for this thing to go all the way up and all the way down again. It's pretty bad. Here we're going to do two different versions of gap skip. The first one's kind of like the ones that we've done before, I guess, with jump slashes. The second one's a little weird, because we're going to use a pot to kind of extend... I don't know if I made that. No, I did. Okay. We're using the pot throw that Purple did to kind of extend his rolls, and that lets us get to the platform there. Oh yeah, the second use of the level 2 fire rod is those question marks that are on this screen. I always forget about them. If you use the Cane of Samaria on them, they turn into elevators, which you can go back and forth. So the gap skips there also do help skip the level 2 cane. It's kind of amazing that you can even skip it in the first place, because a lot of this level does bank on having that thing. Dude, please die. The hitbox of the fire rod is really bad sometimes. Oh my god. Possible. I think I hit myself more than I hit them. Alright, whatever. And so on this next screen is kind of the thing we used in the first screen, where we hit 5 switches at once. I don't need to hit that. So there's 4 over here and then 1 over here, and just doing the same thing. Just pressing the 2 switches quickly. It counts as pressing them both at the same time. So we can just... you don't need the block or anything to press it. So we skipped the 4th gem, but we have it still. So the game obviously doesn't care about what you did previously. I mean, it makes sense because this is a completely linear game. It's not like you can really skip around. So the next level here is the second and last glitchless level. I mean, it technically has some skips, but nothing that really affect the level in any way. There's really no sequence breaks. there is over 2 minutes of walking through doors. Very unfortunate. It's a completely 2D level for the most part, which is kind of separates it from the rest. It does have some pretty cool rooms that I like. It's just a super long... This is actually the longest level in the speedrun. If you don't count the last level. Last level's kind of cheating because it's in 2 parts. But... yeah, so this is the longest level by like 20 seconds or something. And this is the kind of skip I was mentioning for this game. So normally you need the slingshot to hit these guys, but you can just jump slash and hit it. It only saves like 10 or 15 seconds, but that's pretty much all we're getting for this level. However, this level doesn't have... it's not totally worthless. It does have some pretty cool rooms that have some cool strats in it. Mainly because it's 2D and you don't really... or I guess instead of 2D I should say vertical. It's more of a vertical level, which you don't really see too often. So it has some pretty cool stuff in it. And the boss is also one of my favorites. And we'll get to that at the end. Yeah, so the main gimmick at this level is just switching between the fire rod and the rock's feather when you need to jump or melt stuff. Which is why it's so long, is because you constantly have to find the other item once you get on the next screen. Yeah, so this room is pretty cool. It has a... doing it fast looks pretty awesome. But then you're back to walking through doors, so... So normally you have to ride the leftmost thwomp all the way up to the top and then jump on the ladder. But you can actually throw one of your links and skip doing that entirely. There's also a skip here. I don't know if I'll get it. I'll try. Okay, I didn't. There's one frame where when you take damage, if you do an action, you actually won't get the, what's it called? You won't get knocked back when taking damage. So, I'm essentially trying to roll the same frame I hit the spikes, and so then I can just roll through all the spikes without taking all of those damage recoils. This room's kind of annoying, so the bomb shoes that are coming out of the corner there, they have a random chance of going left or up. Dude. Okay. I mean, I just can't jump, that's not even... alright. And so sometimes they can be in the way. That was just me being stupid. This jump's kind of precise too. You only have like a few frames to hit that jump. You're supposed to grab a link and throw him over, I think. I actually never knew that as a kid when I played this game. I just thought the jump was really hard. Oh god. These guys have really annoying hitboxes. Okay, so now we have to trade the items again. Kind of annoying. But, you have to melt some stuff and jump. And then once we do that, we're on to the boss. Okay, so the first thing you have to do with this boss is knock him down off the top. And then you have to hit... What am I doing? Then once he falls down, you have to hit him 4 times in the eye. And it's a pretty, like, free-form boss. You really have to, like, react to what's going on and stuff like that. Kinda almost feels like you're playing Smash in a certain way, in a sense. It's pretty cool. And then you kill him with, Toon Link's down air. It's pretty sick. Alright, it's good that he's in the corner. I can just combo him there. One funny thing about this screen is when I kind of got put up there, the game actually gives you floating link glitch when the links land. And so if you're holding a direction as you're landing on this screen here, you actually can't use your sword or anything because you still have floating link glitch. So glitchless is actually impossible. Really dumb. I mean, not doing floating link glitch in general is pretty impossible. Because anytime you jump slash a shield, you get floating link glitch. It's silly. Alright, so now the game gets pretty crazy. So we just did a glitchless level, and 8-1 is probably... Actually, World 8 in general is just super glitch heavy. It's very visual glitches too. Like it's pretty easy to see that I'm breaking the game. And it's actually one of the easiest things to do too. So there's another version of the formation hover where you're not using a wall. And so we mainly use it in this level. It's used in the next level a little bit too, not as much. It's not too useful for getting on the platforms, but we use it to hit switches and do various things like that. And it's really easy, because all you have to do is use the C-stick over a gap, and it does it. You can do it in any level, really. It's just only useful in this one. That was good, Lobster. But I can also soft lock and lose a minute on this next screen, and I just hope that I don't. Do I have enough gems? So if I fell there, I would have soft locked and had to reset the level. So I'm skipping this whole section. And this level is one of the main reasons we actually play on Japanese as well. These unintended transitions that I'm doing, most of them have been fixed on the English version and PAL versions. So this level is a lot slower on those other versions. Although, not too much, because this level's pretty fast anyway. And we'll use another hover here to hit a switch. This skips using that elevator that's on the... That's right here. Ooh, I can do... Alright, I'll try FMCing here. I'll probably fail. Oh nice, I got it. So now we go to 8-2, which has its own bag of tricks. The glitch in this level is pretty hilarious. Whatever you see on stream is actually what happens to my TV as well, so it's not like a glitch with the stream or whatever. But you'll see basically half of the screen go away. It just completely disappears. It's pretty hilarious. Oops. So this is another kind of 2D level. Only the first half is 2D. But these transitions that are happening when we use the cloud, they're very weird. And you can do some interesting things with them. It's possible to actually skip the transition if you do the formation menu clipping past it. But it actually breaks the game a little bit and causes some things to fail. So this first thing I'm going to do is just do a side hop setup to hit all those switches, just to get gems, I guess to continue to. Alright, so now we're going to kind of break these transitions to skip this next screen. Assuming I don't screw it up. So I'm basically going to activate the transition in an unintended way, which causes some problems for whatever reason. And it puts green on the upper left-hand side of the screen. You can't really see him, but he's there, just kind of chilling. And we'll abuse that to reunite red up to the top and put him on the ladder. It's amazing that that trick even works as well as it does, because I still have to hit the switch that I hit with the bow, and luckily enough, red is just kind of chilling right there, and he can hit the switch. Because it would waste a lot more time if he didn't spawn right there for whatever reason, which is cool. I hate this stupid... whatever. You can usually make this bomb cycle, but I screwed up there. You're also supposed to break that. You're supposed to break those stone blocks with bombs that we just skipped. But you can do a jump slash, and then I guess a spike or whatever you want to call it, out of the air. Since a jump slash actually does put you in the air. Oh god, this guy. Oh, I'm missing him. It may be weird that I'm killing these guys without using the bow, but for some reason if you kill them with the bow, they don't drop any gems. And I do need gems right now. There's barely enough to kind of finish this level, so I do need the gems that they drop, because they drop a total of like 400, or I guess maybe even like closer to 600. It's another formation hover. Like I said earlier, formation hovers are kind of random. So me falling there isn't really, I mean, it's probably my fault, but not really. Come on, dude. I'm just trying to get past this corner. I'm getting really unlucky. Okay. Now I put red on the corner here. And so that skips having to get the hammer entirely. And then I do some crazy skips to skip even more stuff. Why not? Yeah, maybe subpixels, who knows? So there's still more skips. This level actually has the biggest skip in the game in terms of like how much time it saves. And it's pretty simple. But before that, we're going to do one more skip. So normally you have to alternate between the lamp and the bow to light all these torches that are on the screen. But we can do another gap skip, similar to the ice dungeon we did earlier. It was weird. And to skip all that stuff. And so this is where you finally defeat Shadow Link and get this mirror back or whatever. But we're going to skip all that. This fight is super long. So you have to kill, like, 10 Shadow Links And there's a cutscene with Zelda. And it saves like probably 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes or something. Okay, so now this is the last level coming up. I have to switch to co-op, so I have to re-plug my controllers in and stuff. So there might be some banging and stuff, but I'll be right back. Alright, so now I have to go to 2-player. And so now we're going to use some co-op mechanics here to completely break this level. And most of it is just done with the boomerang. Actually, I guess all of it is done with the boomerang. Dying in co-op isn't really a problem because you can just pick your partner up and they revive instantly. So I'm using a Game Boy SP, which I plugged into my Wii. And I'm using a GameCube controller plugged into a GameCube, using a Game Boy player, which is also plugged into my Wii. So I'm using an SP controller and a GameCube controller for the various links. Okay, so this is the instance of the first glitch. I just use the boomerang, pick them up, and then I can go anywhere I want, essentially. And this level has like 4 trials that you have to do with the different items, and has all this other stuff, but we just go straight through it. Oh, for some reason I thought there was a cutscene. Who is... okay. This might get ugly. I really don't want him to get... Why'd you get hit? Okay. And this is the barrier, and this is the only level we don't need 2,000 gems for, because we just skip over it. And it doesn't activate any portals. All it's doing is it's just preventing us from going to body, so... And we don't really care about the leveled up sword. The leveled up sword does a little bit more damage, but it doesn't... It's not so much that it really saves that much time. And this is easily the most annoying part. So in single player, you only have to bomb this guy 3 times, but in co-op, for some reason they made it so you have to bomb him 6 times. Even though you can't really go any faster in co-op. So it's just making this fight longer for really no reason. And sometimes the bombs just go through the port. I think this is 6. I hope it is. That wasn't 6. Yeah, I can't count. Alright, that should work. Okay, so now I have to stun him with my bow, and then get green to dive on him. Then he goes underground. You won't be able to see this because I'm using my SP for this, but this phase only lasts, well, depending on how... Okay, he was pretty nice, so... Then I have to do that same thing one last time. I can't hit him on the very top, because green can't actually reach. Of course he comes down now. Okay. It was a pretty good body fight. And then, spoilers, the last boss isn't body. So, we're gonna do the collapse first, and then we go and fight Ganon. This section has so many soft locks, it's not even funny. So there's a soft lock even before the collapse starts. So in this next screen, the links are off to the lower left-hand corner. You can actually pick up one of your friends and prevent that text box from coming up, and then it soft locks the game, and you have to reset. And then Zelda has like 3 soft locks of her own. because she basically just moves super slowly through this, kind of like Ocarina of Time in a way. And you just have to beat the enemies that are in her way. But sometimes you can... That was stupid. Sometimes you can make her interact with things incorrectly, and it just breaks her AI. Just causing it to... her to not progress, essentially. Alright, there's kind of a skip here that I'm going to try to do. I keep on failing this. I don't know why. We will try. So the colors are reversed, so I'm super confused right now. Okay, I got it to work. I kind of screwed it up, but that's okay. So you can also use the boomerang trick on the 2D sections as well. I used it there to kind of get to that switch faster on the screen. It's more useful on the screen upcoming. And you have to press a series of like 3 switches or something. And you have to do a bunch of stuff, including getting the Rock's Feather and things like that. But since we have this glitch, we can just press all the switches at once. And that's basically it. Then we just have to kill the enemies that are in the way. And also, I'm in this cave with Red to get the blue bracelet. Because Ganon does a lot of damage. So, nice. That was pretty sick. Ganon does a lot of damage, and I can really only fight Ganon with one of the links. I'm not that much of a god gamer that I can fight him with both. And I really want to try to survive. So, since the blue ring negates damage by half, it's worth it to get it there. It doesn't really waste any time either, because you have to wait for Zelda. Please, die. So for the first phase of the Ganon fight, he does this kind of lightning attack, and if you get hit by it, it sends you down to this underground area where you have to fight enemies. Now I'm going to keep green at the bottom, and that actually prevents him from getting sucked in. And while I'm hitting Ganon with red, I want to keep on getting hit by Ganon, so that I don't get sucked into the portal, and because that prevents getting hit by it. And then after that phase, hopefully he does it twice, sometimes he only does it once. He'll do this teleporting attack, which is really annoying to deal with. And I have to hold up on Green's controller as I'm fighting him with red. So, it gets really awkward. Can't imagine how funny it is watching me try to do it. So I might only get one lightning attack out of him, because usually he's done it by now. So I might only get one. Why am I starting that? Yeah. So I only got one out of that, but that's okay. So normally during this attack, they switch the places of the 2 players. Sometimes it doesn't work like that. I don't really know why. But so I try to keep Green at the top, so that Red switches with him, and I can just attack him immediately and not get hit. Because if Green dies, I don't really care. I mean, usually he doesn't die anyway. I actually have a lot of health, but so does he. Alright, that was pretty good. It was a really good fight. And so now this is the tennis phase of the boss fight. He shoots different color balls depending on how many players there are. So here he'll always shoot a green ball and a red ball in that order. Maybe I should match the text. And it's actually kind of hard to hit the balls back and predict where they are. So normally I just use the green balls as kind of a tell of where they're going to be. Because they change depending on where he is on the screen. And also, the amount of time he teleport or warps like this is random, so sometimes he just hits the wall 3 times because he feels like it. Or he'll go all the way across the screen and waste like 5 seconds. It's really dumb. I don't know if that was 4 or 5, or 3 or 4. Find out, I guess. Okay. So I keep Zelda to the left here to get kind of a quick shot. So I don't have to wait for an extra cycle of the ball. And that was FSA. Pretty good run. It's better than the run I did yesterday. One thing to kind of note is, so I mentioned the results screen that happens whenever, whenever you finish a level with co-op. And here it's actually it's after you kill Ganon, so it doesn't really affect the time at all. So should I turn off my stream, or do you want to say something, Meshi?
GG, Zmaster. That was a good FSA run.
Thanks.
Up next, we have Yagamoth, who will be playing Secret of Mana, 1 player, 2 controllers. And since you guys donated for it, there will be a hand cam. Just a note that there is still a possibility. We only have a name for the boy. We don't have any donations for the name for the sprite. So while we're transitioning over to this next game, you guys better get in on that and name that sprite. So, like with all the other games, once we're gonna bring the stream down, and then the next runner is gonna come up, and we'll move on to the next game.
Alright, so I'll turn my stream off.